all these things is part of who I am now. Why I dream for a better than a modern Philippines. Merong pa tayong manyana habit, eningas kugon. Whoever invented that, they invented that for whatever reason. But for me, as a creative, why can't we, at this point, start designing our culture? And I challenge everyone, every Filipino, challenge the status quo. Because if the status quo doesn't work for you as Filipino, bring it to a better Filipino. That's why when I say modern Filipino, it means better Filipino. My mom brought me to engineering. Yun ang kanyang idea. After reaching the end of the queue, wala na, puno na. Then my mom looked to her right, saw architecture. Sabi niya, oh, ito, anak ko, parehas din yan.
Siya ang arkitekto sa likod ng Clark International Airport at ng makabagong Clark City Sports Hub na una nating nasilayan noong 2019 Southeast Asian Games. Hangad ni Architect Royal Pineda na maging alagad ng modern Philippine architecture para makilala ito sa buong mundo. Sino nga ba si Royal Pineda? At paano nagbunga ang kanyang ambisyon hindi lamang para sa sarili kundi para sa ating bansa? Yan ang ating aalamin dito lamang sa Usapang Bilyonaryo.
What is the origin of the name Royal? It's very unique.
Because my dad is named Ray. So Ray is actually in King. So he said to me, I named you Royal because I want you to be a junior, but not to carry exactly my name. The name actually became a pressure. So it was a good thing for me.
You come from a family of educators, right? Your parents were both teachers?
Public school teachers, both of them. My dad was a physical educator, head of the Makati Polytechnic for physical education. My mom, elementary school teacher in Pasig, science teacher. But you know what's nice? They're both very good in sketching. My mom used to draw the entire anatomy straight and on the board with colored chalks and all. My dad,
the human anatomy, that's very detailed.
Yeah, because, you know, science teacher. And then my dad loves to paint. So he's usually the one doing all the paintings and the works for my mom's class. No?
That exposure.
Yeah, that's an influence. And of course, the discipline. You know, architecture is an art and science. So it cannot just be art. There's discipline. And I think 24 hours of being with a teacher, I think that's wonderful for me. Anna.
You were sketching at a very young age.
I remember grade 1, even kinder. I always have a notepad with me. And I carry it with me. I always see things. Like I see a car, I create my version of a car. And when I see a house, I don't copy them.
You put your own, hindi yung realistic.
Yes, and I change it. Like, you know, I even painted Mona Lisa, but nilagyan ko ng bangs. God builds you up to what you'll become.
You were already, in a way, making your own designs.
Connecting the dots, it's like, you know, there's no such thing as irrelevant in our lives.
In our existence.
Yeah.
No? So how early did you think, I want to be an architect?
Funny, I didn't really know that I'd want to be an architect. My parents, their friends were more of engineers. And that time, parang yung sikat niyan, mga engineers. And then I told her, oh, Mom, I want to keep designing. Kasi nga, I love to sketch. Then sabi niya, oh sige. So we went to Polytechnic University of the Philippines, no? Public school again. My parents told me, I remember this very clearly. My dad said, we're public school teachers and you will finish and you will take your entire education in a public school system.
They had belief in the public school system.
Because they work there. One time, my mom brought a shirt for this kid, because then he brought me, because I studied in the same
The
school.
same school.
She brought me there and then introduced to me the kid. You know, she showed me that the kid who finished the class meets with the other sibling at the gate,
And lends the shirt.
takes off his shirt, lends the shirt to the younger brother, then goes to school. When I saw that, parang all these things is part of who I am now. Why I dream for a better and a modern Philippines. This is what makes me dream for the Philippines.
Where does design come in? What does design have to do with poverty?
Definitely. So design is so powerful. The roadmap to a modern Philippines, it's practical luxury.
What is practical luxury? Kasi if they seem opposites.
I made it to be sounding that way because I want it to be retained in the mind of the Filipinos. That it's a paradox that being practical is also being luxurious. Because it's luxury by design. A bahay kubo can still be with the materials of a bahay kubo. But I tell you, ask an architect, a good one, to design a bahay kubo. And I tell you that that bahay kubo can charge $1,000, $2,000 a night. That's the principle of what's Filipino. The bahay kubo was practical. Will I work for a sensibility, a design idea that's not for the country? Parang imagine ko pa lang yun, parang nahihirapan ako. Sabi ko, maybe my heart is really here, so I'll stay.
Sa PUP, pumunta kayo ng nanay mo.
Nanay ko.
Oo.
Oo.
And then,
Pumila kami. Imagine PUP, no? That is big. We have this long queue, pila kami. Siyempre, my mom brought me to engineering. Yun ang kanyang idea. After reaching the end of the queue, wala na, puno na. So, then my mom looked to her right, saw architecture. Sabi niya, oh, ito, anak ko, parehas din yan. Parehas din yan. Pagdating doon, closed again. So my mom, of course, she's my mom. Nakiusap. Pinopromote niya ako. No? Ang galing anak ko. Siyempre, nanay ko yun. So, until na-convince niya yung dean, sige, I'll bring you in, but let's make a deal. If you fail one subject, I'll kick you out. Sabi ko, sige po, sir. Sabi ko, thank you. And the rest was history. So I became an architect. So yun, for me, it was really more of a God's plan.
and at the age of 22, you had the guts to walk in the offices of Leandro Locsin.
Yes.
At 22?
Yes,
You were a
yes.
fresh graduate, or?
I haven't graduated yet.
Why Locsin?
I really like the architecture of Frank Lloyd Wright because I'm a naturalist. So I was a nature lover. So I like Frank Lloyd Wright because it's very organic and modern, progressive. But I told myself, how can I go to the States to train, right? So I said, I'll be realistic. So I
Who is the equivalent
Yes.
of Frank Lloyd
Something
Wright
that-
in the
yeah.
Philippines?
Yes.
And of course,
And of
it
course,
had to
Leandro
be-
Locsin was the best, for me, choice top. So I applied. What I did, I brought my portfolio, and so I called. I was using a cell phone that time. Then the secretary, who was the secretary of the late Leandro Locsin, picked up the phone and said, we're freeze hiring. We're not hiring right now.
What year was that? Do you remember?
That was 1997, I think, or 98. So she said, but if you like, you can just walk in. And then I said, okay, ma'am. I said, I'm downstairs. I was downstairs. I'm downstairs. Can I just go up? It was lunch break. And then that time, she asked me to wait in the lobby. And then a guy passed by the lobby whistling. This is Ed Ledesma. He became actually my mentor and my father professionally. I showed my portfolio. He only asked me one question when I presented. His question was like, are these really your work?
Nagandahan.
Sabi ko, yes sir, sabi ko, no. Sabi niya, oh, start next week. So sabi ko, sir, siyempre, I was teary-eyed. But then, I told him, I said, sir, can I graduate first at the end of the month? Sabi niya, oh, sir, sige, perfect. So just come back and report this date. Up to now, he's managing and he's designing. So my exposure was both. So it was not just creative.
It was also the backside,
Yes.
which is difficult.
Difficult, but you could see that, how detailed he is and how organized also he is. No? But when I say the creative side, his creative side is, he's really very creative in terms of designing. But then I think the beauty is that he's the one also wanting to hear from you. And again, there's no wrong idea. So I learned collaboration with him.
Did you imagine that from PUP, you would reach where you are now, have your own firm?
No, it was never really a part of my dream. I was only dreaming for architecture, design, trying to do. I got offers, when I was with Locsin, I got my offers to work in Dubai during that time. Hot na hot yan. But then I said, will I work for a sensibility, a design idea that's not for the country? Parang imagine ko pa lang yun, parang nahihirapan ako. So sabi ko, maybe my heart is really here. So I'll stay, I'll bite the bullet. Partners.
Nag-break pala kayo after 20 years.
Nag-break kami and sabi nga nila, divorce. But,
So it was an amicable parting. Now, after Locsin, you set up na your own firm with Buji?
yes. After that, after 5 years of working in Locsin, I decided to partner with Buji together. So we became Buji Royal. So
Who approached who?
Buji's mom said to me, you have to meet Buji because I think you'll get along. Because I think we've been looking for someone for a long time, but I think this is a match. So I met with Buji. For 3 hours, we were talking about design and visions and dreams, and I think that became a good start for us.
Eventually, you bought him out.
Well, yes, I bought his shares.
What led to that?
Well,
you
I
wanted
think-
to focus on other things? Or?
Yeah, because Buji's, I don't want to say his age, but Buji's into the next
Phase
stage
of his life.
of his life, and also me. I think we're, as naturalists, I think it's about growth. And I think as you grow, you get to prepare yourself to a new adventure. And Buji's now painting, and which is very, very good for him. Me, I'm doing bigger projects like master planning and bigger visions, which again, I think the only way to create this bigger impact is to be able to have that, Royal Pineda Plus is actually a plus because we want to open up to more collaborations. So it's a plus to be able to create an orchestra of what is modern Philippines.
Ikaw ang conductor.
I can be the conductor, I can also be a player in the team, but for me, it's just that I believe that the sensibility of a modern Philippines is something that's inside me. And I just cannot keep it to myself. I need to share it with as many as possible. So I think the plus is actually freedom to share.
So it was an amicable parting.
Yes, yes. Partners.
Nag-break pala kayo after 20 years.
Nag-break kami and sabi nga nila, divorce. But I think it's that the 20 years was all wonderful years. And you know what really opened up to this big vision of modern Philippines is when we first got involved with the NAIA.
And rejuvenating the NAIA Terminal 1. An urban oasis, this modern tropical design upgrade breathes a welcoming atmosphere that our festive Filipino islands are very well known for. A vast complex sprawling with swooping canopies and overlapping landscapes. A 21st century tour de force.
We're doing luxury projects, we're doing all this modern Filipino sensibility in the resorts. But hey, these are limited to very few people to experience that sensibility. But when they asked us to do the airport, it's a perfect opportunity.
Excited kayo.
Oo, sabi namin, let's help, let's just do this because
No cost.
no, it's pro bono. We
Okay.
just wanted to help the country and we felt good about that. We were all, super excited knowing that it was the worst airport in the world that time, no? And here we are, like, Filipinos getting together, trying to help each other, the modern bayanihan.
This sana was the design, which
Yes.
never got implemented because, well, politics.
Medyo abstract pa yung sinasabi mong practical, luxury, modern Filipino design. Which project of yours that really encapsulates this idea?
I would say the loudest voice and expression was during the Southeast Asian Games. Parang that was an opportunity for us to showcase in many ways, multifaceted, no? Not just design, but it's also the discipline of the Filipinos. That time, SEA Games was immovable. So the foreign consultants who dared to do it and build the structure, they wanted 3 years and they backed out. So when they backed out, we said, let's do it as Filipinos. And we finished it in 18 months, not even 2 years. The thing that I would be, somehow, I'd be able to express as clearly Filipino and modern Filipino is the Southeast Asian Games because the architecture that we placed there from ground zero, from its inspirations of the lahar, the pinatubo, the nature of the Philippines says. It was not inspired by the Spanish times. It was going back to the very ancient inspiration.
Pre-colonial.
Pre-colonial. And ito yung sinasabi ko na it's just that I'm a naturalist, na ang real source and origin of humanity for me is nature. So, do not limit ourselves as Filipinos to always define that what's best is that era of the Spanish colonial time. So I think this is where we can present freedom to every Filipino. If we just start to celebrate our nature, our colors were better. Our colors were more subtle. Our colors were not jeepney colors. It was chemically limited. Pero kung titignan mo,
Yung origins
the
natin.
origins of the Filipinos and the colors of our fashion and the golds and everything, we were sophisticated. We were something else.
Nalimutan na lang natin.
And you ask what's the power of design? An environment changes you. Design is very powerful. And that's what I think is yung we can do, not just the architects and designers, but all of us.
Well, may parang hulog ng langit ulit. Because, I mean, if you were to partner with the government, Why not one of the favorite LGUs, Pasig?
Pasig, are you ready? Maaari ito po magiging pinakamalaking proyekto sa kasaysayan ng lungsod ng Pasig.
How did you get this project?
They were all looking for architects and planners to work on the renovation. They wanted the renovation of the City Hall. I think he just saw the practicality of it. I'm a Pasigueño,
Oo
no?
nga.
So,
Diyan ka lumaki.
diyan ako pinanganak, diyan ako lumaki. So, I used to ride the carabaos there. Naliligo yung carabao sa river. Malinis pa yan. And I was telling Mayor Vico noon, sabi ko nga sa kanya, kung merong nakita yung Pasig, nakakita ng Pasig, the transformation of Pasig, I'm one of them. I saw it. The concept is to open up and bring back the land to the people because the people lost the land. It was all built with parkings and chaotic. So here, what you'll see is the boulevard, the Caruncho Avenue. The City Hall used to be 3-story lang. The revolving tower,
I don't see it.
because it's covered by a 8-story building.
Okay.
They added and added and added. So the idea is to make this walkable again.
Really?
Well, that whole side will clear that and make that more walkable. So from that church, people can now walk and then knock down the City Hall
You will knock that down?
because it's already condemned. So when you knock that down, you will now see the revolving tower. This number 5.
Okay.
You see? So what happens is there is now an avenue and a park that will open up that whole thing. Here is the beautiful architecture. Di ba? These are all structural poured concrete. All poured concrete and they're not hollow blocks. They're load-bearing. So this will be
ganda
open.
pala ng view. You can see
Oh, Laguna
the
Lake.
lake. Oo.
Antipolo. Oh. We're trying to respect the height of this. What I proposed was more of a real estate game. That with this land, Pasig can actually make a good earning and partner with the private sector. So that was the big idea.
PPP.
Yes. So that
So
was
that it's not paid for by the Pasig government.
government. And that's what I think the cities of the Philippines should start doing. You know, you don't think small of all these waiting sheds and all the initials of the mayors. No, I mean, you go beyond that. You dream for what is Pasig, and you dream for something that's, you know, the future.
Now, since you design all these luxurious homes, how do you live?
I live simply. I live with practical luxury, I would say. I mean, all my philosophies are not my architectural philosophy alone. It is my life itself. You know. It is my philosophy with the way I live and the way I see every day. It's really all about that. So when I say practical luxury, I see beauty in everything. When I say I see beauty in everything, I celebrate things. Like when I see the sunset, the sunrise, I see the shadow, the ripple. Like look at the water on the. It's very engaging, and you know, these things for me is luxury. If you don't see this, it's a pity.
Mataas ang ambisyon at paniniwala ni Royal Pineda hindi lamang sa disenyong Pilipino, kundi pati na sa mamamayang Pilipino. Hamon niya sa bawat isa sa atin na gumawa ng new and improved version ng sarili para sama-sama nating mapaunlad ang bansa. Sana ay may natutunan kayo at maraming aral na napulot sa aming episode ngayong linggo. Hanggang sa susunod nating pagkikita, ako po si Ces Orenia Drilon para sa Usapang Bilyonaryo.